Hello, today I want to show you the game between Fischer and Spassky. Fischer played some brilliant here, something what Spassky didn't see, and that is why I choose this position, because practically Fischer saw something what is so deep that Spassky didn't recognize till when position was on that way that he can't defend it anymore. So let's see what Fischer saw here. So first, as always, divide the board. That is so important in chess, because if you don't divide the board, then you don't know where to play. So you need to divide and then to see where you should go with your pieces. So important thing in chess. So let's see. On the king side, we already saw that we can see that the pawn on h5 is already took some space from us, and we can expect that black will play f5 in some moment. First, he needs to attack this pawn, but in some moment, definitely he wants to push f5. That is why white put a lot of pieces there to stop f5, and with that that means that we don't want to play on the king side, because of course we saw that black is trying to play on that side. So we need to play on the queen side. On the queen side we have great pawn on d5. He gave us some space advantage on that side, and we need to find some weakness there. Weakness must be on b5. Why the pawn on b5 is weak? First, we need to take a look at how many pieces can defend that pawn, because if they can defend him easily, probably it's not that weak. But for now, this pawn, if we take a look, probably no one can defend him. Why? Because first, the queen can't defend him. Probably it's not that simple. Why? Because we can open and then to exchange here. So once when we exchange, someone will and in the next move we are attacking that pawn, probably we will capture him. Second, maybe the bishop can do that, but after we exchange, and if we exchange everything on a8, then probably the bishop will end on a8. So then the bishop can't help in defending the pawn, at least not in the next move. That is important. So speed in chess is so important. Okay, maybe the knights can do that. So knight f8, knight e8, knight c7. The knight can defend him, but the knight then will be on c7 square. So the bishop is protecting that square. I mean, dark square bishop. Our dark square bishop can do something good for us then, and we can go on b6 and we will attack that knight from c7. So practically no one can defend the pawn on b5. But now the good question for us is, can we attack that pawn? Because also we have big problem how to reach to that pawn. Okay, we don't need to count that black will capture on a4, because this will be disaster for him. He will immediately create some weaknesses, more weaknesses than what he has now, and probably black will just wait on the queen side, and he wants to play on the king side. On the other side, we want to play on the queen side, and we don't want to play on the king side. So practically, we will whatever we do, we need to do on whatever we are doing here, we need to do on the queen side. Why? Because we want to play there, and we need to increase our pieces there. I mean the number of pieces, of course. Okay, so what we need to do here? We need to figure out how to attack the pawn on b5, and that is why this game is so brilliant. What Fischer saw, it's so deep. First, he played queen d2. Idea with that move is to bring the other rook in on the queen side, sorry, and then to put the queen from behind, and then we will see. This is not the complete plan, but let's go to that. Rook f8, rook a3, knight from d to f6, and then we put the other rook in the game. So probably now Spassky saw that white wants to play there, but still he's probably confused what white can achieve there, because with queen d7 idea is simple. He wants to play rook c8 or rook b8, it doesn't matter, and then to put the queen there. So the queen will also protect last rank, and it doesn't matter, we will put 3 pieces, but still black will do the same thing, so we are equal. But the problem on b5 still exists, but only if we can find a way how to attack that pawn. For now, we didn't show our cards, so still black doesn't know what will come here. If you want to take a pause, try to find how you can attack, which of your pieces can reach to that pawn. If you find that, probably you must be at least on FIDE master or something like that, because this is so deep idea. Even if from this position is so deep, but Fischer saw that much earlier, which is genius, of course. Okay, now I will show you knight f1. Idea is knight d2 and then knight b1. In some moment when we open a file and the pawn on b5 will be then exposed to attack because the root of pawn chain will be on b5, then we can exchange. And when we exchange everything on a8, so black will also exchange everything, bishop will be the last piece on a8. And that is why then we can play knight a3 and we will capture the pawn on b5. Once when we capture the pawn, game is over because we have one pawn more, and of course this is end game then, so we will win the game. This is so simple then. So what a brilliant idea with knight f1. Then black played bishop e7. Still, I'm not totally sure, did Spassky recognize what was idea with knight f1, knight d2, king g7, knight b1. Definitely now he saw what is coming here. And he tried to defend this position. I mean, how one world champion can defend his position? Of course, he's thinking how to cause some damage in white position. So that is why he tried with some desperate matter. Maybe here he tried with sacrifice. He didn't want just to wait, because if he waits, he will lose the game, of course. Let's have a look what can happen. So I will play some neutral move here for black, just to show you how white will capture this pawn. For example, king g8 will be something what nothing will change in position. We will capture, he will capture. We will capture, he will capture, we will capture, he will capture, we will capture. And after bishop a8, we have knight a3, and we will capture that pawn. Nobody can defend it. What a nice and what a deep idea from white, from the move from with queen d2. So queen d2 was idea. Queen d2 was idea to play rook a3, to double heavy pieces on a file, and then queen a1. But this is not end of that variation or of that idea. The idea was to bring the knight, and then the knight will attack the pawn on b5. Brilliant, totally brilliant. Spassky now saw, and he recognized that he must play something to create some counterattack. Okay, he sacrificed here, and this is probably good sacrifice, because after bishop takes, we have, black have f5. And now, after f5, nobody's protecting the pawn on d5, so we can capture, black can capture the pawn on d5, and now, suddenly, black has a really nice position here. If we wait here, he will just push the pawns, probably bishop f6, and he will try to push the pawn on d4 in some moment, and try to create some pass pawn here, something like that, especially in the center, because in that way he will also take even more space. So definitely we need to do something here and not to wait him to achieve that. But what we can do now? First, the pawn on b5 is not anymore weakness. Why? Because now black can defend him easily with bishop c6. So it's useless for us to try to attack something what black can defend that much, that easily. So we need to figure out, or we need new strategy how to continue this game. So first stage of the game is end. Now we need new plan. And probably in this moment Fischer spent a lot of time to recognize where he should go with his pieces, what to attack, where could be the weakness. So if you want, take a pause, try to think what could be our second target in the game, what should we attack, and then we will know. Then, of course, we can come up with some new plan how to continue this game. Okay, so now we will continue. I will tell you now that Fischer recognized that the king is a piece. What would he attack here in the future? Let's have a look, or just to analyze this position. So if we wait, or if we try to exchange the pieces just to exchange, that will be better for black. Why? Because then he will just try to push the pawns, and we will be in trouble how to stop those pawns, because those pawns are in the center. So big problem for us. But if we refuse to exchange the pieces, or because we want to attack on the king, and for attack we need pieces, especially the heavy pieces. And if we try to open even more this position, because this is also connected with attack on the king, because if we have a lot of pieces on the board, and if we open position, we have one extra piece than in compared to black. So that means that if we open position and we keep our heavy pieces, or if we try to keep them, and we have one extra piece already, so we have naturally better chance to attack his king and to cause even more damage in his position. So that is why first a takes on b5, and after that rook a7. What a nice move. Now everyone will ask, okay, now black can exchange. Yes, that black can exchange, but he can exchange just the rooks. The queen must stay alive. Because after we exchange everything, black queen can't end on a8 because we will capture the bishop for free. That is why black played here king f6. I think because of two reasons. First, maybe he will exchange the queens. He will try to provoke exchange with the queens. Also, he escaped from mask, so now the bishop is free to go whenever he wants. Okay, so king f6, but the king now is more open because now he's on 6th rank, which is even better for white. Our plan is working for now. Okay, we need everything what we have here. So knight from b to d2. We need to back our knight in the game, which is so logical move. Rook takes, and then rook a8. So black wants to exchange. Of course, it's better for black because in that way we can't attack. And now again, take a pause, try to find how we should continue this game, how to open the king. This move is so brilliant. Okay, now I will tell you. This move is g4. What a nice move. Without g4, we can't attack the king. So we need to open him. And we can do that with g4. What a nice move. Okay, so h takes, and then we exchange the rooks. And then f4. Black doesn't want to wait here for white to exchange. And now, surprising move from white. White can play easily here bishop b6, and still he has great chance to win the game, but no. Fischer sacrificed here on f4. He's genius, so of course. Bishop f4, and after e takes on f4, first knight h4, with tempo. So we are threatening here to capture on g6. He can't play g5 because we will capture the knight, and also that will destroy his pawn structure. I mean, probably it's not good. So bishop f7 to protect that pawn, and also to keep control through the light squares. But now we can return our queen in the center with tempo. And after king e6, one lovely move, knight f5. So the knight is now centralized. We are threatening knight g7 with taking the queen in the next move. And he can't take because we have checkmate in the next move. So what a nice move, knight f5. Tempo move again. In chess, so important when you are playing some tempo moves, because in that time, on that way, you will buy some time for you. You will play some. That is how we call that, tempo move. Of course, we will have more good moves for us. So bishop f8 to stop knight g7. And then we capture the pawn. Not only that we capture the pawn, we set free some space for the knight. And now we can again take a look at this pawn on b5. Because still his weakness, but now the bishop changed the side. And of course the pawn on b5 is weak. Yes, that the queen is protecting him, but it's not good when queen is protecting something, because she's a so powerful piece and she should be active. Okay, so king d7 and knight d4. Now Spassky used his chance to activate the queen, but it's not the same when you are using more pieces for attack or just one queen. The queen, she can't do anything alone. And after king g2, our king is perfectly safe. Okay, now again black is trying to do something, but of course white can just play bishop e4 and nothing can happen to his king. Of course, we can exchange that, and now the bishop is hanging, so practically black is forced to exchange, and we can use that to improve position of our knight. So the knight is now really active in the center of the board. The other knight is also in the center of the board. He is threatening to capture the pawn. Our queen is threatening maybe queen f7 in the future, so we have powerful position. Okay, so bishop e7, I suppose, to improve position and also to stop maybe some annoying check on f7. And now we capture the pawn on b5, and not only that we capture that pawn, still we have that initiative. That is so important. If you take a look, black pieces are pretty much separate. They're doing everything alone. King is totally exposed to attack, and soon he will be in really bad position. Now we capture the pawn on d6, and practically nobody is defending the king. Only just 2 pieces, but it's not enough. And after knight e6, queen e5, and black resign here. Why? Because, of course, we are threatening here queen b5 check, and that will be checkmate soon. Or maybe knight c5, and then we can capture the queen. Of course, Spassky can see that, and of course he will probably move somewhere the queen, maybe here. But it doesn't matter, because after that we can just check him, and I don't know where he can go, maybe here, but we have check, and after king d7, queen c8, checkmate. That is one of variations how we can end this game, but probably there is a lot of also good ideas here what white can do. It doesn't matter, when we enter in winning position, it's easy to win the game, of course. Also, what I want to tell you in this game is in many moves, in many positions, what we saw here in this game, the black king was the most active piece. It's not easy to force your opponent, especially the world champion, to have such position in the game or during the game. So that is why this game is so even more brilliant from white side, because he forced black to be active with his king. I mean, the most active piece was the king. What a nice and brilliant game from white side. Thank you if you watched the whole game. I hope you enjoying this, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.